We went to a networking event, I think it was, wasn't it? Probably about nearly 2 years, a year and a half ago. We briefly spoke. I understood about what Kerry wanted to do, and I had very similar experiences, and I thought we could definitely do something together. And then one day we had an opportunity. We decided we was going to deliver a workshop, and we devised a workshop, and it's been really, really positive since then. Kerry, do you want to tell them a little bit about what you do in your day-to-day?
I've been volunteering now for the last 2 years supporting prisoners' families. I've worked on the helpline, and I've also been a lead court volunteer supporting defendants' families through trial at London-based Crown Courts.
Today is all around sort of trauma-informed care, ACES and youth violence, and we're going to be sharing our experiences and our life stories with you as well throughout the presentation. If you want to move on to the next screen. So the workshop will include, what we talk about is adverse childhood experiences and the link to serious violence, trauma-informed practice, compassion fatigue, gangs, victims and perpetrators' perspectives. Do you want to go, Kel?
Yep. First of all, we'd just like you to take a moment to actually just think about someone really close to you, preferably someone who also has children themselves, and just really think about that person for a moment. And if you could just write their name down on a piece of paper and just keep that name close to you, you're not going to have to show it to anybody.
And we'll come back to that throughout the session. So what we're going to talk about is the adverse childhood experiences. I know in our group for the parent and champion work that we're doing, we are doing a lot of work around this. So again, we do explore this in our workshop, and we kind of add our own experiences to that as well in order to give you a little bit more clarity. So what are childhood experiences? Adverse childhood experiences are stressful and traumatic experiences that can potentially have a long-term impact on child and across their lives into adulthood. In 1998, CDC Kaiser Permenti study found 10 ACEs that affect adults physically and mental, the adults' physical mental health. So these are the sort of things that will constitute the reason why people have ACEs. So abuse, emotional abuse and sexual abuse, neglect, physical and emotional, household dysfunction, which could be mental illness, mother or father treated violently, divorce, incarceration, having a relative that could have been incarcerated, and substance abuse. So we go into a little bit more detail about signs of ACEs, and these are usually angry outbursts, distrusting, so the children will be, or adults can be distrusting, may appear to regress into childhood, so they may be an adult, but they may regress into childhood experiences, anxiousness, perceives hostility in others when none are present, and sometimes they can be withdrawn. So these are the main sort of key signs that you'd find in a person that does suffer with ACEs. ACEs does impact, they say, most people have up to 4 ACEs, and they can be anything from alcoholic issues, so they're 2 times more likely to binge drink and have a poor diet if they've experienced ACEs. They're 3 times more likely to be a smoker if they've experienced ACEs. They're 4 times more likely to have a low level of mental well-being and life satisfaction. 5 times more likely to have underage sex. 6 times more likely to have an unplanned teenage pregnancy, 7 times more likely to have been involved in violence, 11 times more likely to have used illicit drugs, and 11 times more likely to be incarcerated.
So when we're talking about stress, obviously it's completely normal for all of us to experience stressful life events throughout our lives, and especially young people as well. They always go through periods of stress, but it's really important to remember that not all stress is toxic, and some of it is actually really necessary. For example, positive stress, like if we didn't feel that bit of nerves when it comes to sitting exams and stuff, we wouldn't then feel that we should revise for them exams. And then tolerable stress is when we go through something that is very stressful, and it might be for quite a long time, a bit of time, but we have forged them really strong relationships with other people that enable us to get through that stressful time. Now, adverse childhood experiences comes under the bracket of toxic stress. Now, toxic stress is prolonged episodes of being shown to stress without having them supportive relationships in place as well. And what that means is that when we feel stress, we go into this flight, or freeze response. So our brain floods with certain hormones. And when people are going through toxic stress, like adverse childhood experiences, those hormone levels never deplete. They never go down back to normal substantial levels. That means that a child going through toxic stress, adverse childhood experiences, cannot be expected psychologically to actually be able to concentrate and do things that other children that are not going through toxic stress can do.
My parents don't understand. All the drinking and fighting means I'm scared. I'd like a cuddle, perhaps a bedtime story, but mostly I'd like them to stop shouting at me. And sometimes they hit me. Feeling scared every day and not feeling loved or wanted will change me for the rest of my life. Later, I'll have problems at school, problems with alcohol, and I'll get in trouble with the police. What's happening to me right now means I'm more likely to have serious health problems in middle age and die sooner than I should. Doctors say my life is full of adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs. But in my world, this means I see my dad hitting my mum. Dad's got a drinking problem, and mum's always crying, even with the tablets. I am always being shouted at and hit. After the booze and fags, there's not a lot of money for toys or clothes, or even food. I'm getting used to being scared all the time. Now I'm just angry. The doctors say things are changing inside me. My brain isn't learning how to control my feelings properly. My body can't relax like those kids who don't have ACEs, so my body won't be able to repair itself properly when I get older, making it more likely I'll get cancer or heart disease as an adult. It hurts when my parents hit me, but the real damage is hidden, and that damage will be with me for life.
I drink and smoke. They say I'm out of control, but I'm not. It's just my way of coping with my ACEs. I've been in plenty of fights, but what's wrong with that? Kids' punches don't hurt half as much as when my dad hits me. I beat up a kid last week at school because he looked at me weird. Who cares? I ended up with more time out of school. Learning's not for me anyway, and the teachers don't care any more than my parents. I don't like the way anyone looks at me except my girl. She's 16 and pregnant, just like my mum was with me.
So this is where I've ended up. I've got diabetes and cancer's probably on the way. I know these kill you, but I couldn't do without them. I've never had a proper job and I've spent time inside. I hate my kids. I hate their mum too, until she left, so my kids have grown up with ACEs. And now my daughter had her first kid. She's 16. The course of my life was set in the wrong direction a long time ago. I know where I'm heading, and sadly I know where my kids are heading too.
I've actually seen this before. I think it's on the ACES training, if I'm right, but I've done it last year, but I've seen it before. But just showing like how easy it is for families to keep following the same cycle of toxic behavior.
Definitely. Hi, Jenny. Yeah. Anybody else? Anybody else want to say their thoughts, feelings, or a comment? Joelle?
Yeah, I think for me it actually made me kind of be like raw. Like, to put it simply, it's like raw. Like I can relate to a lot of what's going on in that video, and you don't realize how sort of things you've been through in the past kind of will affect you for the whole of your life, kind of thing, especially if you don't deal with it. So yeah, that was that. I've never seen it before, so yeah, that was enlightening.
Thank you. Thanks.
Well,
Anybody else?
well, for me, it
Hi,
just
Jen.
shows that. Hi, Lydia. Hi, guys. Yeah, it just shows that, you know, interaction could maybe like help to break that cycle. And, you know, as JJ said, she's seen that. You know, you just see that in maybe friends and even in your own life. And, you know, sometimes you need something to just break that ongoing cycle to make a change for the children and the future children. Really, it's all about making change.
Definitely.